Welcome back to Curd Zone, part 2 of the different stages of healing. My name is Sergio, and I am your host. Before I get started on this week's podcast, here's my disclaimer. This podcast may discuss sensitive topics, including CSA, so viewer discretion is advised. This podcast discusses experiences of abuse, violence, suicidal ideation, and CSA, which may be distressing to some listeners. The content provided is for informational and educational purposes only, and it is not a substitute for professional advice. So if you or someone you know needs support, please seek help from a qualified professional or contact your local helpline in your area. Now on to the different stages. The next stage is reconnection with the body. Reconnection with the body is a crucial stage in the healing journey for survivors of CSA. This stage involves rebuilding a positive and healthy relationship with one's body, which may have been damaged or disrupted as a result of the trauma. And the following are key aspects of this particular stage. Awareness of bodily sensations. Many survivors of CSA experience disconnection from their bodies as a coping mechanism to numb or avoid painful emotions and memories. Reconnection with the body begins with cultivating awareness of bodily sensations such as tension, relaxation, pleasure, and discomfort without judgment or avoidance. Next is healing physical symptoms. CSA can manifest in a variety of physical symptoms, including chronic pain, muscle tension, digestive issues, and sexual dysfunction. Reconnection with the body involves addressing these physical symptoms through practices such as massage, yoga, acupuncture, and physical therapy, as well as seeking medical treatment as needed. Exploring sensory experience. Reconnecting with the body also involves exploring sensory experiences that promote relaxation, pleasure, and grounding. This may include activities such as taking a warm bath, spending time in nature, listening to calming music, engaging in a creative expression, and enjoying healthy touch with a trusted individual. Next is expressive movement. Movement practices such as dance, Tai Chi, and expressive art therapy can be powerful tools for reconnecting with the body and expressing emotions that may be difficult to verbalize. These practices allow survivors to express themselves freely and authentically through movement and creativity. Next is mind-body integration. Reconnection with the body involves integrating the mind and the body to promote holistic healing. Practices such as mindfulness, meditation, and breath work can help survivors develop greater awareness of the mind-body connection and cultivate a sense of presence and groundedness in the present moment. Next is addressing body image issue. This is a big one. CSA can contribute to a negative body image and feelings of shame, self-consciousness, and dysphoria related to one's physical appearance. Reconnection with the body involves challenging these negative beliefs and cultivating self-acceptance, self-love, and appreciation for the body's resilience and capacity for healing. Next is establishing boundaries. Reconnecting with the body also involves establishing healthy boundaries to protect oneself from further harm. This may involve setting boundaries around physical touch, intimacy, and personal space, as well as practicing assertiveness and self-advocacy in relationships and situations where boundaries are violated. Next is seeking professional support. Reconnection with the body can be a complex and challenging process, and survivors may benefit from seeking support from a therapist, body workers, and somatic experience practitioners, and other professionals who specialize in trauma-informed care and body-based therapies. Overall, reconnection with the body is an essential stage in the healing journey for survivors of CSA. allowing them to reclaim ownership of their bodies, cultivate self-awareness and self-compassion, and promote holistic healing and well-being. The next stage is reclaiming agency empowerment. Reclaiming agency and empowerment is a significant stage in the healing journey for CSA. The stage involves regaining a sense of control, autonomy, and personal power that may have been lost or compromised as a result of the trauma. And the following are key aspects to this particular stage. Asserting boundaries. Reclaiming agency and empowerment often begins with asserting healthy boundaries in relationships and situations. This may involve setting clear limits on what is acceptable behavior, advocating for one's needs and desires, and asserting oneself assertively and respectfully. Self-advocacy. Survivors learn to become their own advocates, speaking up for themselves and asserting their rights and needs. This may involve seeking out support, resources, and services that promote healing and well-being, as well as advocating for change in systems and institutions that perpetuate abuse and injustice. Next is decision-making. Reclaiming agency and empowerment involves taking ownership of one's decisions and choices, both big or small. This may involve exploring one's values, priorities, and goals, as well as making decisions that align one's authentic self and promote personal growth and fulfillment. Next is taking action. Empowerment is about taking proactive steps towards healing, growth, and positive change. This may involve engaging in therapy, support groups, self-help practices, and other activities that promote self-awareness, self-care, and self-improvement. Next is building skills. Reclaiming agency and empowerment often involves building practical skills and competencies that enhance one's ability to navigate life's challenges and pursue one's goals. This may include communication skills, problem-solving skills, emotion regulation skills, and coping strategies for managing stress and adversity. Next is the cultivating self-confidence. Empowerment is rooted in self-confidence and self-belief. Survivors work to cultivate a sense of self-worth, self-esteem, self-efficacy, recognizing their strengths, abilities, and potential to overcome obstacles and achieve their aspirations. Next is fostering resilience. Reclaiming agency and empowerment involves cultivating resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, adapt to change, and thrive in the face of challenges. This may involve developing coping strategies, building a support network, and cultivating a positive outlook on life. Next is advocating for others. Empowerment extends beyond oneself to advocating for the rights, needs, and well-being of others. Survivors may become advocates and allies for fellow survivors, as well as for broader social justice issues related to abuse, trauma, inequality. And the last one in this particular stage is celebrating progress. Reclaiming agency and empowerment involves celebrating progress and milestones along the healing journey, no matter how small. Survivors recognize these achievements, growth, and resilience, take pride in their ability to overcome adversity and thrive. Overall, reclaiming agency and empowerment is a transformative stage in the healing journey for survivors of CSA, allowing them to reclaim ownership of their lives, cultivate resilience and self-confidence, and pursue a future filled with hope, possibility, and empowerment. The next stage is rebuilding trust in relationships. Rebuilding trust in relationship is a significant stage in healing journey for survivors of CSA. The stage involves learning to trust oneself and others again, as well as navigating the complexities of forming and maintaining healthy relationships. The following are key aspects to this particular stage. Rebuilding self-trust. Survivors often struggle with trust, issues stemming from the betrayal of trust experienced during the abuse. Rebuilding trust begins with learning to trust oneself again, trusting one's instinct, judgments, and ability to navigate relationships and situations safely. Next is healing relationship trauma. CSA can profoundly impact survivors' ability to form and maintain healthy relationships. Rebuilding trust involves addressing the relational trauma and attachment wounds resulting from the abuse, often through therapy, support groups, and other healing modalities. Next is setting boundaries. That's pretty big with regards to anything that we people that have suffered or survivors of trauma or CSA is constantly thinking about setting those boundaries. Remember, rebuilding trust in relationship involves getting and enforcing healthy boundaries to protect oneself from further harm. Survivors learn to assert their boundaries assertively and respectfully, communicate their needs and expectations clearly, and recognize when boundaries are being violated. Building safe relationships. Rebuilding trust often involves gradually building safe and supportive relationships with trustworthy individuals. This may include trusted friends, family members, therapists, and support group members who provide validation, empathy, and understanding without judgment or pressure. Next is reconnecting with others. Survivors work to reconnect with others in a meaningful and authentic ways, rebuilding social connections and support networks that may have been strained or severed as a result of the abuse. This may involve reaching out to old friends, making new connections, and participating in social activities and communities that foster a sense of belonging and acceptance. Developing intimacy skills. Rebuilding trust in intimate relationships involves developing intimacy skills such as communication, vulnerability, empathy, and emotional regulation. Survivors learn to express their needs, desires openly, listen empathetically to others, and navigate conflict and challenges constructively. Next is repairing past relationships. Survivors may choose to work on repairing and reconciling past relationships that have been damaged or strained as a result of the abuse. This may involve initiating difficult conversation, apologizing for past mistakes, and rebuilding trust through consistent and respectful actions over time. Forgiving others. Rebuilding trust often involves forgiving others who have hurt or betrayed us, including the abuser or abusers, and those who may have failed to protect us. Forgiveness does not mean condoning or excusing the harm done, but rather releasing the burden of anger and resentment and freeing oneself to move forward with greater peace and resilience. Next is reclaiming intimacy. Rebuilding trust. Rebuilding trust is an intimate relationships involves reclaiming healthy and consensual intimacy in one's own terms. Survivors learn to set boundaries around physical touch and sexual activity, communicate their needs and desires openly, and prioritize safety, respect, and mutual consent in their relationships. Next is seeking professional support. It's always big on professional support. Rebuilding trust in relationships can be a complex and challenging process, and survivors may benefit from seeking support from therapists, relationship counselors, and other professionals who specialize in trauma-informed care and relational healing. Overall, rebuilding trust in relationship is a vital stage in the healing journey for survivors of CSA, allowing them to heal relational wounds, form healthy connections, and cultivate meaningful and fulfilling relationships that support their ongoing growth and well-being. The next stage is meaning making and integration. Meaning making and integration are essential stages in the healing journey for survivors of CSA. This stage involves finding understanding, purpose, and coherence in one's experiences of trauma and incorporating them into one's life narrative in a way that promotes healing and growth. And the following are key aspects of this particular stage. Finding meaning. Meaning making involves exploring the deeper significance of one's experiences of CSA and finding meaning and purpose in the midst of pain and suffering. This may involve asking questions such as, why did this happen to me? And what can I learn from this experience? And seeking to understand how the abuse has shaped one's identity, beliefs, values, and relationships. That's pretty big. That is pretty big, and I think that's where I'm at right now, I believe. Seeking perspective. Meaning making involves seeking perspective as one's experiences of CSA and recognizing that they are just one part of a larger life story. Survivors may explore how their experiences have influenced their strengths, resilience, and capacity for empathy, as well as how they have contributed to their personal growth and development over time. Integration into identity. Integration involves incorporating one's experiences of CSA into one's sense of self and overall life narrative in a way that feels authentic and empowering. This may involve recognizing the ways in which the abuse has shaped one's identity, beliefs, values, and relationship, as well as finding a sense of coherence and continuity in one's life story. Pardon me. Transcending victimhood. Meaning making and integration allows survivors to transcend the role of victim and reclaiming agency and empowerment in their lives. This involves recognizing that the abuse does not define who they are and that they have the power to create a future filled with hope, positivity, and resilience. Finding purpose. Meaning making involves finding purpose and meaning in one's experiences of CSA and using them as a catalyst for personal growth and positive change. Survivors may seek to transform their pain into purpose by advocating for social justice, supporting other survivors, and promoting awareness and prevention of CSA. Spiritual exploration. For some survivors, meaning making may involve exploring questions of spirituality, faith, and existence meaning in the context of their experiences of CSA. This may involve seeking solace, comfort, and guidance from spiritual beliefs and practices that offer a sense of connection, purpose, and transcendence. Next is honoring resilience. Meaning making involves honoring and celebrating the resilience, courage, and strength that survivors have demonstrated in the face of adversity. Survivors recognize their own resilience and capacity for growth, as well as the resilience of others who have supported and encouraged them along the way. Next is sharing stories. Meaning making and integration often involves sharing one's stories of childhood sexual abuse with others in a way that promotes understanding, empathy, and healing. Survivors may share their stories through writing, speaking, art, activism, finding validation and solidarity in connecting with others who have similar experiences. Sharing stories, basically, it's what I'm doing. I'm sharing my story through a podcast. Basically, overall, meaning making and integration are essential stages in the healing journey for CSA, allowing them to find understanding, purpose, and coherence in their experiences and reclaiming agency and empowerment in their lives. Through these stages, survivors can create a future filled with hope, resilience, and meaning despite the pain and trauma of the past. Next, and the last one, transcendence and thriving. Transcendence and thriving represent the culmination of the healing journey for survivors of CSA. These stages involve moving beyond pain and trauma of the past to create a future filled with growth, resilience, and fulfillment. And the following are key aspects of this particular stage. Transcending the trauma. Transcendence involves transcending the role of victim and reclaiming agency and empowerment of one's life. Survivors recognize that the abuse does not define who they are and that they have the power to create a future filled with hope, possibility, and resilience. Next is embracing growth. Survivors embrace the opportunities for growth and transformation that arise from their experiences of CSA. They recognize that adversity can be a catalyst for personal growth, leading to greater self-awareness, self-compassion, and self-acceptance. Next is cultivating resilience. Thriving involves cultivating resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, adapt to change, and thrive in the face of challenges. Survivors draw upon their strength, resources, and support networks to overcome obstacles and persevere in pursuit of their first goals and aspiration. Fostering well-being. Thriving encompasses all aspects of well-being: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Survivors prioritize self-care practices that nourish and nurture their overall health and well-being, including exercise, nutrition, sleep, relaxation, mindfulness, and creative expression. Next is building meaningful connections. Thriving involves building and maintaining meaningful connections with others that foster a sense of belonging, connection, and support. Survivors cultivate relationships that are based on trust, mutual respect, and empathy, and they actively seek out opportunities for social engagement and community involvement. Next is pursuing goals and dreams. Thriving involves pursuing goals and dreams that inspire and motivate survivors to live their best lives. Survivors set goals that are aligned with their values, passion, and strengths, and they take consistent action to make their dreams a reality, despite setbacks and challenges. Finding purpose. Thriving involves finding purpose and meaning in one's life, despite the pain and trauma of the past. Survivors may find purpose in helping others, advocating for social justice, pursuing creative passions, or making a positive impact in their communities and in the world. Next is celebrating successes. Thriving involves celebrating successes and milestones along the healing journey, no matter how small. Survivors recognize their achievements, growth, and resilience, and they take pride in their ability to overcome adversity and create a future filled with hope, positive possibilities, and fulfillment. Overall, transcendence and thriving represents the ultimate goals of healing journey for survivors of childhood sexual abuse. Their resilience, self-awareness, and empowerment, survivors can create a future that is defined not by pain and trauma of the past, but by their growth, resilience, and fulfillment. These stages are not fixed or linear, and individuals may move back and forth between them or experience them in different ways and at different times. Healing is a deeply personal journey and it is essential for survivors to have access to supportive resources and professional help as needed. Now, I got to tell you, as far as, someone asked me when I'm reading all these stages and such, it's like, well, tell me where you are. I don't have a particular stage that I'm at, really. I'm all over the place. But I can tell you that after going through all of this, that I'm probably sitting in the transcendence and thriving, the last one that I mentioned to you. I've created this podcast that I wanted to get my voice out, and this has given me my voice. I know some of you have mentioned that as time has gone by, that I sound more positive and more confident. This is my voice, and thank you for listening and giving me the opportunity to get my voice back. And I do go through these particular stages. I go back and forth, as I've noted, that you go back and, things that come up. And unfortunately, I've gone through some of these anger stages. I've gone through I know I'm quite resilient and I'm quite strong. I've bounced back from a lot of things in my life, not just the physical abuse, the sexual abuse, the verbal abuse. But I've come back from in a deep, dark area of my life that I was in the early 2000s, where I attempted suicide not only once, but 3 times. Lucky for me, I was not successful. But I've bounced back from that, and I don't give myself that much credit as far as how strong I am to come back from all of this and be successful. I call it a successful because my success is not based or determined on how much money I have in my bank account, but the fact that I'm here. I have 4 walls that protect me. I have a great paying job. I have a beautiful wife and a very strong-minded wife who has been extremely supportive from day one when we met approximately 19 years ago. I've fostered great friendships, especially with my 2 other best friends as I call Peter and Lori, my brother and sister. I do have other friends that, are going to go at this moment unnamed, but I've had them, all these people, for a very long time. And I've had to rely on their support at times without them even knowing. And so it was important for me to be there. And it's important for me that they were there for me. So at times we do need to celebrate the successes, like I'm basically celebrating now, having this podcast. And I am amazed that I am now being heard in 11 different countries. I've got different provinces in Canada, different states in the USA, Central America, South America, and in Europe. Slowly, things are getting around. I just want to keep putting the word out there, breaking the stigma, and I'm still just break the myths, because I know that they're still there from people that I know, and I'm in some of the groups that I'm in when it comes to social media. I know that when I put a note in there about my episodes of podcast, not all the time do I receive a warm welcome. So I'm just putting it out there that even though we're in 2024, we still have a lot of work to do when it comes to this particular issue. And being a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, we have a lot of work to do. And it's up to all of us to spread the word, and not just verbalizing it, but passing my podcast on to somebody else, or one of your groups, or a neighbor, or your sister, your brother. I've learned since I started this podcast that you just never know who has experienced this trauma. Thank you. Now, as I come to the end of this particular episode, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to each of you for joining me this important conversation about childhood sexual abuse and the various stages of healing, part 2. I know it's not an easy topic to discuss, but I want to continue shedding light on this issue. We take a step forward of healing and understanding. To all the survivors out there who are listening, your strength and resilience inspire me all the time. Remember, you're not alone. I am here for you, and there is hope for healing. So let's continue to support and uplift each other as we navigate our individual journeys. Thank you.